Hey everybody, Dan Holstein here, helping your business take flight. And today I'm going to be interviewing Raymond Tuquero from Creative Crunch Productions. And Raymond is a videographer and cinematographer. And I'm really excited to be talking with Raymond today because we're going to be learning about how to use video strategically for your business, things to avoid when you're using video, and also how to pick the best production company for your unique business situation. So stick around. Raymond, awesome to see you. Welcome.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me on here. It's a lot of fun to chit chat, this way.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really looking forward to our chat because I know we're going to learn a lot from you. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do and who you serve?
Yeah, so I run a video production company, Creative Crunch Productions, and I basically serve a lot of businesses who are, I like to be B2B, work with businesses to kind of create content that can be more engaging to their target audience, really making and enhancing that communication through video, with their audience.
Fantastic. And now something interesting that I think separates you from a lot of videographers is that you're also a filmmaker, you're a cinematographer. So tell us a little bit about that. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of people who do video, and cinematography is another side of that video. It's another angle that people do. And you probably see a lot of people who kind of film different things. So the really big difference between like a videographer and a cinematographer, there is a difference there for you to understand. So let me help you guys figure this out. On the video side, when you're a videographer, you basically walk into a location. Let's say if you're doing a big meeting conference, and if you were to have the conference going on and you're talking to a bunch of people inside the conference, it's going to happen regardless if you have a video person there. And so the videographer would come and just capture the conference, capture anything that's happening, capture the people talking, get engagement, and of course record the person up front. The cinematographer person, if you were to do the same kind of conference, but you were engaging people beyond the room and really talking about a product and kind of showcasing it, and you talk with somebody like myself, a professional video person, who can kind of talk about what are ways that we can create content that people will be engaged even after they've either not been in the conference or whatever, or even in the conference where you watch it and reconnect with it. And then so the conference wouldn't happen without the videographer person, who's a cinematographer, to kind of help make sure that all makes that connection.
So that's cool. So I guess what I'm hearing is that the difference is a videographer is going to show up and capture what's going to happen anyways, but a cinematographer has a part to play strategically in the process of what's going to be captured, how things are all set up.
Exactly. So, the cinematographer will be with you at the beginning stages prior to even doing your filming side. They kind of sit down and strategize a pre-planned idea of what exactly you're going to be talking about. So that way you can make sure that you really convey all that stuff through video.
That makes a lot of sense. So the videography side, a little bit more tactical, cinematography side, a little bit more strategic. And I imagine you kind of bring that together when you're taking some of that cinematic skill set and attribute to the video that you do.
Yeah, so it's fun to take the information I get from the film industry side. When you watch a film, it looks very different than if you were watching, let's say, the news. The two different variable sides of video. When you're watching the news, it's very clean, it's very cut, and it's very, very simple. And when you're watching the news and someone's outside and you're like, interviewing whoever, that's basically just capturing what's going on around you. Where you're on a cinematic side, that you can see how pretty the lighting is, everything looks very smooth. It has a very different view to it. And if you want your films that are going to be engaging even more to whoever your whatever service or clients you're going after with your products, it just kind of helps really highlight that, that service or product that you actually have through a cinematic view.
That's interesting. So it kind of it's creating an environment, or that, I guess, that feeling, that experience that the business owner wants to convey about their product or their service as well.
Exactly.
That is cool. So how did you get into video in the first place, and filmmaking as well?
Funny note. I went to school first to be an engineer, so that didn't go as far. I did like 3.5 years, which is a long time to go through in any kind of university.
It's a lot of math.
It is a lot of math, but I enjoyed it. But I at the very end, I didn't enjoy as much, obviously. Later on, fast forward, I actually ran into some friends who were in the video industry, and they introduced me to me, and I kind of fell into it from there. I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Did it for a couple of sports events and sports networks and pieces like that. And then I wanted to get my degree. Parents talking in the back of your head. Went back and actually got my degree in video production to kind of do more of the side that I thought was only the way you can get into video and actually make money as a career. And then fast forward from there, I started the company because there was a company that I ran into, a client who said that they don't hire individuals. The difference again between like a individual person and person who does it for business. And doing it from a business perspective, they wanted someone who can come in and kind of showcase it in a business way more strategy through video. So myself and a business partner at the time, we started the company years ago, separate company than the one that is Creative Crunch now in Canada, and kind of got me into that mindset. So I started to really flip my mind from the pretty images and the capturing of whatever's in front of me to someone who actually strategizes for business years ago because of that one company.
That's awesome. So that's the entrepreneurial moment. I find so many business owners, they didn't wake up and say, I'm going to be, whatever their role is, whatever their business is. Something happened that they kind of they trip into it almost, right? Like that, your example is similar to mine, where I got into business because I was in IT and I wanted to get a co-op when I was in school. And the guy that I went for the co-op with said, well, I'll tell you what, if you just go register a company, I'll contract you. I'm like, okay. And that was 1995. So I got into business by accident too. There's so many people that happens to. So that's pretty cool. So as an entrepreneur yourself, I imagine you've got a pretty unique perspective on what business owners are looking for when they're engaging video or wanting to use video to promote their business.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely coming from the entrepreneur side of things. I was able to really capture an understanding of what they go through because I myself am going through the same thing. As many entrepreneurs, I am geared towards my skills a lot more than I am through the business side, honestly. And I'm always learning on the business side. I mean, I'm never going to be perfect, and I don't think anyone ever is. There's always a point of learning in your business to kind of keep growing. And so being able, yeah, for sure. And then taking it from my video perspective, it's like I'm able to actually sit down with the business owner and kind of help them feel more comfortable in front of the camera, make their business really stand out better through the camera because I feel their pain. I understand what they're going through. So I can kind of relate and kind of help them stay connected with their service or their product they're trying to showcase.
That's cool. So yeah, that bit of empathy there and understanding. So, on that, if that level of maybe discomfort that people have in front of the camera let's talk about that. Some of the reasons people, they recognize video could be helpful for their business, but they don't do it, or they want to, but they just kind of procrastinate. Like, what do you see? Why do people typically, where they know video can be really helpful for them, but they're just like, I don't think I want to do that. What are some of the things you see when people are nervous about that?
Yeah, to be nervous in front of the camera, I mean, everyone's nervous. I mean, even all the professionals you see on TV doing the news, they're nervous. They're nervous all the time. So for a business person to actually get in front of the camera, that's obviously not your main goal. And the one thing that I've seen a lot of people why they're nervous is because they have so much information they want to share. And they know that video is just going to help them share it in a small amount of time. But it's like, how do we cram all that in there? And that's where the strategy comes in, talking about how, okay, well, let's find like 2 or 3 points that's really strong about your service and your product and just get that engagement going. And then it kind of helps kind of shave it down and make it and simplify that moment. So taking a professional like myself kind of helps simplify, all of the great things that your product and service does and make it really honed towards a certain group to get them to hear what you have to say. So it makes making you a lot more comfortable in front of your camera. Like, oh, I can talk about those 2 or 3 things real easily. And then bam, it's in and out and you're ready to go, really.
That makes a lot of sense. You just kind of distill it down to the bones, like the important stuff, and just make it easy. So I guess in addition to with being strategic in terms of the cinematics for your videography, making things look right, all that kind of stuff, you're actually making it easier for the business owner because you're kind of coaching them on how to say things and just to keep it simple and reduce some of those nerves that they might have in front of the camera.
Oh, it's exactly right. I mean, the nerves are brought up because of the fact that you are thinking so hard about, and then you should obviously think about all of the strong strengths of what your business is. But sometimes when you take a fresh eyes approach, as we call it, fresh eyes, being a fresh eyes, I'm freshly outside of your company. I have no idea who you are, but I'm learning about your company just like any other person. But I'm going to be capturing in a way that kind of takes those learnings and presents it in a way that everyone can kind of relate to and connect with, so they can jump into your service or product.
Awesome. Yeah, make it relatable. So what are some of the mistakes that people make with video? Like when they're getting started, or things that they might not consider? What are some of and maybe even things that we've never thought of that are important? Like, what are some of the things that people make mistakes with when it comes to video?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that today video, I have to say, the world of technology has made video so much easier for people to understand how important it is, because your phones do it these days. Yeah. So when you're doing it with your phone, let's make it easy. Let's simplify this connection here. So everyone likes to go on to all the different social media platforms and use their phone to capture who they are. One of the mistakes a lot of people run into is like lighting is one of the big ones. Sometimes you want to be careful about where you stand. Let's say you choose a window. You don't have to have professional lighting. Just find a nice good window, find nice sun coming in, and kind of like just take a spot that you like really like this spot with all this lighting to your eyes, because your eyes are going to see it differently than the camera will.
Right.
And then hold up your phone, whatever camera you're using, and kind of spin and find this point where you see the camera is going to adjust automatically because all of them do that. And this kind of gives you a point to be like, oh, look, this is where the camera's going to adjust to where the background lighting and my face is clearly seen, because you want the people to see who you are, but then you also want to share your background. So if you're in front of a nice pretty pond, or if you have a really beautiful, mountain view, whatever, you definitely want to showcase that, but you also don't want to hide away yourself and become this like Alfred Hitchcock's, silhouette in front
I
of the
call
camera.
that, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you want to be
awesome.
careful with that. That's definitely topic number, tip number one is kind of like spin around and kind of find that good spot with the lighting. The next one is really the audio. I mean, you really want people to hear who you are, right? They want to hear, they don't want to hear the squawking goose in the background that's like passing by, or any of the trains or cars. They want to be able to hear you and hear what your message that you're trying to convey. Even if it's like the 20-second, social media platform, post, you want to just be able to be clearly heard, so that way no one gets distracted. And that's very important.
Yeah, I've watched some videos where there's some background noise that's really distracting, and I have trouble even focusing on what they're saying, and I have to rewind. It's like, what was that? You hear that background noise, just gets me wondering what the background noise is, and I'm not listening anymore. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Any other things that we want to avoid when doing video?
I guess some smaller things is really just kind of being mindful of what you're wearing. That's a big one. But clothing, I'll do clothing as a pretty fat one, because you got to think about how cameras see what you're wearing. So if you have a lot of lines, for instance, on your clothing, it kind of gets distracting as people are looking at your clothing, how much it moves, and that kind of changes it. Also, you want to think about the material that your clothing is. So if you're wearing like a tracksuit, they have a very waterproof tracksuit, but that makes that kind of like wispy noise. That can get a little distracting as well, because then you're like, oh, what is that noise coming from? So people start thinking, is that me? Is that my phone? Is that my connection? So you don't want people to start thinking of those. You want people to start thinking about what you're trying to convey through the message. So those are small things you want to definitely think about. Is think about some solid colors or solid designs if you have a solid design, or if you have your logo, a solid color with the logo like Dan has on his shirt, right there.
Here we go.
Like the logo stands out for sure. But it looks good. It's clean. It's a nice setup. And then of course, yeah, watching out the kind of clothing. So, I mean, understanding synthetics and cotton and that kind of thing is important to also make sure that you don't hear all that stuff in the camera.
Yeah, I love it. Those are awesome little tips. I would never have considered, like just the actual fabric, like lots of little things. So, so in terms of an effective video or a series, if you think back on some of your favorite projects, what have been some of the outcomes that your clients have had? 'Cause I remember you telling me one about a client that you did some work for it. It ended up like shortening their sales process, which I was quite surprised. I thought that was awesome. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. There was a company that reached out to me, and they wanted to kind of create videos that'll shorten how long it takes for the salesperson to get to the point. To tell you the truth, that layman's term, that's really the what they wanted to do. So they created this video series with us, and we kind of strategized with their marketing team. It took us a few weeks to kind of figure out what clearly to say, and they wanted to shorten that speech, that sales pitch, in a sense, of their products, within a minute, to tell you the truth. And they wanted to send that off to clients, to potential clients, before they actually sat their live person in front of them.
So this video would set the client up for answer some pre questions and get them primed for the conversation with the salesperson, kind of thing.
Exactly. And inside that video, we had like a little bit of like product descriptions, what it does, and then of course putting questions in there, kind of like planting extra questions in there to kind of get people to be like, oh, when you're looking at this product, think about this, and this. And then that made the clients have their own personal questions ready to be able to jump into, and the salespeople were ready to answer those questions. That opened up to more conversation to hopefully bring up more sales, which did help them quite a bit. It raised their sales generation, and they got their salespeople to move a lot more and get a lot more connections a lot faster.
That's cool. So it's promotional, but that's really strategic in terms of setting up like the sales process, like the video getting integrated right into that sales process strategically, as opposed to just selling it a little bit more broadly as like a commercial or a promotional video kind of thing.
Exactly.
That is cool. So when as a business owner is thinking about getting into video, what are some of the some of the more strategic things that they can do? Like your example just now about improving the sales process. What are some of the other reasons you see business owners engaging you for videography?
You're talking about like ways that they can utilize video in their own company strategy. Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah, internal or external.
Mhm. Yeah, so internally, it's really great to have video to be able to talk to a large. Let's say if you have a large company, let's say you have 1,000 employees. Let's go with that. And with 1,000 employees, it's really hard to kind of pull everyone off of their line of work to have a large conference meeting. Because when you have the big conference meeting, you kind of take away from that moment. And as we all know, when it comes to business, when your workers are slowing down and pausing, that's money coming out of your own personal pocket, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to do a video that actually engaged the workforce, we'll put it that way. When you engage the workforce through video, then the workforce can watch it at the time that they're available to do it. Whether they take like the manager's like, hey, this group's going to take 10 minutes, watch this quick video, hear what the CEO has to say about X, Y, and Z, whether it be safety, whether it be kind of workforce engagement, or whether it be kind of accomplishments that the team has been doing to keep the morale going with your team. That's really strong for a lot of businesses because it keeps your team moving and it keeps the morale of your whole industry under you, keeping them going so that your business keeps offering those high quality products and services that you offer. Externally, if you start to do it externally, it'll engage more people without you having to send more salespeople out. The salespeople that you have currently can send off a product and really kind of like sift through all of the different people that do want to hear about it and sift through the people who've never heard of it who want to hear about it then. And with video, that really makes that engagement a lot larger. So that's two different ways that you can really make video work for your business.
Cool. That's awesome. So when a business owner is thinking about engaging a video production company, what are some of the things that they want to, what are some of the tick boxes that they want to get checked? What are they looking for in a production company that's going to be the best fit for them?
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of video people that do this business, or a lot of people in this business who I work with and run into. And a lot of times we all have different niches, I guess, put it that way, that we actually gear towards. Some of us are really strong at making really great, meetings look beautiful. Some of us are really great at making commercials and making your product and brand really shine through a commercial-esque kind of style. And for yourself, you kind of have to decide with your team, what is it that you're trying to convey? What are you trying to do with it? Are you just engaging the workforce? Are you trying to showcase to new clientele, what you're trying to do? Are you trying to get new clients, through this product where you're trying to just tell your products to people that are going to buy your products to also sell to other consumers, or are you trying to reach out to regular consumers? Those kind of questions for yourself does change who you're going to use. And then once you actually sit down with the different people that you work with, that you want to talk to, any video production company you talk to, just kind of engage to see what is it that their work kind of works with you. Make sure that the work that you see from them really connects with you in terms of like, oh, I love how this works for you. I like how this looks, because it's going to be your image. Whatever we make, anything that we make, it is your image. It's your company image. If your company image logo is green and then the video people start changing it to purple, be like, why did you do that? And then they have to have a reason for it. And if they don't, then that's probably not someone you want to be able to engage with, you want to connect with. So those are kind of things you want to kind of keep forward as you move forward, talking to different video experts, kind of deciding who works best for you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What you said about like it's about fit, because you could have someone that's maybe they do more industrial shoots and they got that expertise, and then people that might do more, retail. So it's got to definitely fit in with what you've got as a business owner. So
exactly.
Well, I think you're really just cracking this open just a tiny little bit. There's so much more we get into, but we haven't got all day, so we're gonna have to wrap up. But if someone is thinking about getting into video for their business, is not sure how to get started, and then they want to connect with you to learn more, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, I love having discovery calls to kind of help people at least understand what they're trying to go for and give them a guidance of where they want to go. And you can always visit my website. So it's www.creativecrunch.ca. And in there's an email, and there's a phone number. And I'm always, again, open to having the discovery call to kind of figure out what works for them. Because I'm not perfect for everybody, honestly. And but I'm always happy to share information. I can help them, kind of guide them in the right direction. If I'm not the perfect fit, for them, to find a fit for them that makes it easy for them to get their product going.
That's awesome, man. Adding value, even if you can't serve them directly. That's fantastic. Cool. Well, Raymond, this has been awesome. I've learned a bunch, and I can't wait to talk with you again. I'll probably learn even more. I know I will. So thanks so much for hanging out today. And really appreciate it. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
Take care.